the thing that I would like to start out talking about is just a few arguments that I don't really hear that often from atheists concerning theism, and I'm just sort of curious if it's mostly because you don't think they're compelling arguments, or you haven't really thought of them, which honestly I kind of feel like is a rude sentiment, but I think you get what I mean.
Okay.
But as far as like young Earth creationists go, I've never heard the response. Our galaxy is 100,000 light years across.
Sure.
How do we have so many stars in the sky, given that, the Earth being only 6,000 years old? And, if you're thinking in that range, like 12,000 light years across would all that we would be able to see when we have so much more.
Yeah, all we'd be able to see would be if we were 6,000 years old, if the universe was 6,000 years old, all we'd be able to see were the stars within a 6,000 year sphere around us.
Radius.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
What I was going to say is, I know that Eric and Jamie used to be theists, so there might be a mindset there that you guys could actually, I've never been much of a theist. I didn't grow up in a very religious household, maybe, a little bit. So I've never really had a mindset. I'm closer to Denis in that way. So I'm kind of curious if you guys have more insight on why that might not be a good, argument, or if it is and you guys just haven't brought it up for whatever reason.
Well, so do I get to put on my Christian hat?
I guess so.
I don't.
Sure.
I don't think I'm going to do great at it, but I will try my absolute best. So, if I were a Christian and I was presented with that, and because the fact is, when you approach someone with evidence that can throw a wrench in the works, you get the backfire effect. People will
they'll dig their heels in. Yeah.
And then it's not until later that they have to square it with themselves that they start to go, oh, shit, they might have had a point.
You hope they do that.
But I don't even know how you would really square in your heels on a topic quite like that. I mean, one of the other thing about the whole wave thing was, we're communicating at the speed of light right there. Yeah. And there's obviously a finite limit there.
The problem is you're talking about people who believe in a God who can do anything. Any answer can boil down to magic. So it's like,
that's fair. I felt
it's
like
sad,
but ultimately going to be the response. But
what's funny is I was talking to someone who was a young Earth creationist and also a Christian. Obviously a pretty devoted Christian, and I had started modeling the importance of saying I don't know to things. He was a friend of mine, and so if I didn't know something, I was very quick to be like, oh shit, I don't know this thing. Let's find out together, right? The most intellectually honest thing that you can do is say you don't know. That way you open yourself up to learning new things. And so the day came when I asked him,
bring him along with
stuff
you
like that, And you know what he did? He said,
what?
I don't know. He said, I don't know. And you know what? He came to a really shitty reason afterward. But the fact is he started.
He said, I don't know.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a step.
Well, I would call that atheistic conditioning.
I like it.
Well, I think rationality, if that gets put together with atheism, I'm not against that.
Yeah.
I wish all atheists were rational, but
it'd help a lot.
Well, there's that point about the light speed and how wide our galaxy is and shit. Thinking about just that, then you have the whole universe, which is a whole other quagmire that you would have to get into with somebody.
Right.
But, like you just said, magic. Another, argument that I feel like is kind of hard to try and grapple with somebody who hasn't actually thought about it that hard, is the idea of intelligent design. And if it looks designed, it is designed.
Yeah,
and
right.
I feel like I have a metaphor there that I think kind of puts that into a better perspective for people. And I'm curious about your thoughts.
Yeah.
So you're walking down a beach and you find you're trying to find a good skipping rock. It's a flat, best rock for that is a flat rock. Now, was that rock designed to be skipped, or is it just random chance? Or not necessarily random chance, but just how many other options are out there that make that a viable thing?
Yeah.
Right.
I think you get what I'm getting at there.
Yeah. Well, usually
I would need to talk to somebody who was actually a theist to see how they, to try and further that dialogue. But
yeah, usually that's couched as the watchmaker.
The fine-tuning argument.
You're walking down a beach,
Yeah.
and you look down and you see a watch. Now, are you going to assume the watch is a natural consequence of the natural world, or is it a design thing? Of course you're going to say it's a design thing. The problem is, this thing, when it's presented by Christians, is not really an honest deal, because the Christians believe that you're walking down a beach of watches, watching the clockwork ocean wash up on shore over, and overhead there are the timekeeping clouds, right? And then for some reason you stare down at the beach and go, oh, look, a watch. It doesn't make any sense at all in that context.
Yeah. Damn straight.
Why would you draw why would you make any difference between a human-designed watch and the natural world if you believe it's all created
naturally that
by an intelligence? If everything's designed, then you have nothing to compare a watch to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I feel like that kind
that was good.
pairs in the whole fine-tuning thing as well.
Fine tuning, same sort of deal.
Yeah, because that's also it feels like a very dishonest thing to me, because then you're talking about something that would be relative, the closest thing to the realm of God that you could
really
think
quick,
of.
William,
it's all the sharpshooter fallacy, isn't it?
Well, so for anybody who doesn't know that, I just want to explain this for other people who are listening, and this might be their first time hearing the fine-tuning argument. The fine-tuning argument is an argument that it's basically the argument from complexity, right? So your eye, Denis, is so complex that if I were to take half of your eye, it would not work at all. There's no good in half an eye, so it had to be created in whole cloth, because any smaller part of it would be unusable, unfunctional, and therefore, it's too complex to be random. And there's so many parts of that need to be deconstructed really quickly. It's not completely random. We do live in a universe that does have very observable facts about it that we can see that do influence things, and a half an eye is good for something. Even light-sensitive cells on microorganisms, those light-sensitive cells help them. Any kind of eye is worth it. They say, what good is half a wing? Well, have you seen animals that glide?
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many different uses to those things. And so if anybody does want to check that out, check out The Blind Watchmaker by Richard Dawkins.
Yeah.
It's a really good book. But
Speaking of half a wing, just as an interesting point that I think that I think both of you would actually be interested in, they did some study and found that when it came to like a chicken or something, trying to get up a straight log, 90-degree angle, something along those lines, that they use their wings to stabilize them running up the log. And that's what they naturally do. They could just fly, or another, could get to a position of flying to, get up to where they do. But they still use their legs, and they just use their wings to stabilize. And that's a huge, interesting thing to me as far as just how biology works in a ton of different ways, even if we don't recognize it initially.
And they can use that ability to distance themselves from predators. So it gets carried on.
Marginally related, I do live in the middle of nowhere. I do have chickens. Did you know that chickens are assholes?
Yes, I've heard this from somebody who owns chickens.
Oh my gosh. They're so...
Now, we have some family friends that keep chickens, and they could be mean if you went in the wrong coop.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're mean, and they're filthy, and they're... Ugh. But anyway, I digress.
You get free eggs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I get almost a dozen eggs a day, actually. Anyway.
Well, congratulations. That keeps down omelet costs.
It does, and also baking cost. I'm expanding, just finding things to do with them. But William, it's been good talking to you, man. This has been nice.
Good. Well,
yeah.
Well, there's other stuff that I would like to talk about, but I understand you guys are on a schedule here.
Yeah.
TikTok.
But that doesn't mean that you can't call in again.
Yeah.
No, I am definitely open to calling in again, and there's actually something a little bit more pertinent that I didn't think was necessarily good for the specifically dealt in atheism in the show that I would like you guys to take a look at, and I can send that email today or tomorrow just to hopefully you guys found me interesting enough to have some real feedback on that.
We find you interesting, William.
Fair enough. Thank you.
All right, you take care. I'm gonna look for your email. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Have a great day, guys.
Absolutely. You too.
Thanks. Man, that was kind of like a blast from the past with those arguments, because those are the kind of arguments I cut my teeth on when I first started getting into atheism. I'd go to who remembers Usenet? I'd get on Usenet and argue with theists on Usenet, and same arguments.
You know what?
Write down, just mark off the checklist. Yeah.
They've been around for at least, I want to say at least 1,500 years.
Yeah.
And you have,
1,500 years.
Well, no, I'm trying to think about the philosophers who started coming up with those. And then you had people who built on it, right? You had Thomas Aquinas, who added, and then he became Saint Thomas Aquinas because he proved God. No, he's been saying the same shit everybody else has been saying, and I don't know, being a saint would be cool, maybe.
Yeah.